Hey, Axis and Allies players, a good captain here, and welcome to game number 2 of East and West, played against a human opponent, the Janus, same as last game, except now we have switched sides, so I will be commanding the Soviet forces. I don't think I'm going to do any kind of special introduction. There's a video on my main channel if you want to check it out. I'll link it in the description box below, and the first video in the last review of a game I did of East and West also does a fair introduction. We're going to get right into it. The Soviets begin this game with a free tech roll. I threw it on at the nuke chart, nuclear weapons, to try to gain fission weapons like the USA has, and failed with a 6. And I'm now going to execute my opener. And I used this essentially the same one. I made one minor adjustment from my normal opener. I don't know why I had that. It's a very slight adjustment. I'm hoping I didn't miss something in this slight adjustment. But the initial placement, I dropped 10 infantry. 1 goes into Komi. This is going to be loaded onto a transport to be dropped into Norway. 2 go into Krylia. We're going to immediately throw those into Norway. So you can see 30% of that force is the at start bid forces going into Norway. What else? 2 go into Yugoslavia, so there's 5 left, and 3 into Georgia and 2 into North Korea. And of course, all these pieces are going to be committed in the first round in combat. So Soviet 1, 26 infantry. We're going to spend all 52 IPCs and get 26 infantry, and we're going to need every warm body we can get, despite the fact that these things are only $2 a pop. They are just as precious as a NATO infantry. Okay, so this is my combat move, and since I used basically the same one in any game, this is the opener. I consider the stock opener, and I'm going to go through kind of why I do that. I do it this way, and I'll start here in the West where it's simplest. So all of my battles assume the offshores miss. Assuming the offshores miss, and assuming as soon as we're down to just tanks, we're leaving. Right? Assuming we take casualties so much so that we just decide automatic retreat as soon as there's armored or fighters or both just left. We're only taking infantry casualties. Norway has a 94% chance of success with an average units remaining for the Soviets of 4, or just slightly over 4. The battle in West Germany is a 98% chance of success with approximately 13 or 14 pieces remaining. Greece, a 96% chance with about 7.5 left. Turkey, 97% left with chance of win with 9 left. So you can see the probabilities I'm aiming for. South Korea, is 95% even. And so really the low end is Norway and South Korea. The naval battles I do not care about. There's a very special, if there's a piece of art that I would say that I've ever made for Axis and Allies, it's this S1 opener for East and West. This is a very, some might say gamey approach to it, but we're going to be actually manipulating and taking advantage of the sub-rules that I used to say that if someone says they understand sub-rules, that person does not understand sub-rules because they're fairly simple, but their application is actually pretty complex, and you're going to see that in action over here. And I don't really care about this naval battle either, but it's an 89%. I do care in the sense that even though the NATO forces essentially own the ocean at start, what damage we can do now is going to affect the mid and end game, or can affect the mid and end game as we develop our nuclear weapons. If we destroy enough boats now, it will make nuking the NATO's ability to reinforce the main continent of Africa and Asia very difficult and quite costly. So that's pretty much it. I already have the Norwegian fight set up, so we'll just jump right into it. Actually, I'm going to do one more thing. You know, look at these the mainland battles. There's 5 of them: Norway, West Germany, Greece, Turkey, and South Korea. The main reason we're going after all these territories is to blast all the gear. All of these territories have fighters except for Norway. They're all high value IPC areas. Nothing is worth 1. There's only what? Oh, I guess they're not. 3 of them are worth 2. Turkey's worth 3, and Germany's worth 4. But we want to blast all of the gear. We want to take out as many pieces as we can with this for a very violent first turn. But we also want to preserve our forces, and that's why I like these high percentage chances of not losing the battle, even when accounting for retreats of all pieces that have an attack value greater than the infantry. But even though these battles have a high probability of success, each being on average, well, actually it's not even the average. The low end is what, 95%, right? They're 95% or better, most of them. So let's just go with 95%. If you rolled a d20 and you needed to get a 20 on that d20, that's going to happen 5% of the time, right? So if you had 5 battles where you're looking to avoid the number 20 on a d20, what are the odds that one goes bad for the Russians? And it's not, look at this, this is the answer right here. It's 22 and it's basically 23%. That means nearly 1 in 4 times you play East and West and you copy this opener, whoops. If you copied this opener nearly 1 in 4 times, you will lose as the Russian player, or I should say, not lose. You're not going to lose. What will happen 1 in 4 games is that you will be cut down to the point where you only have armor left and retreat. That's what the probabilities and statistics say. So I'm saying this now before I roll into this because I'm well aware of this fact, and I cannot complain if one of these battles gets cut down to where the armor are the only pieces that are left, and I have to retreat. Okay, I will complain if 2 or 3 battles go badly, because for 2 battles to go badly, that's 2.25%, and for 3 battles, now you're off the spectrum completely. I fell in love with probability after playing this game so much. I got tired of not knowing, if I got lucky, if he got lucky, or if my strategy was better, or if his strategy, I just wanted clarity, and I feel like, understanding probabilities and how dice function and how they function in mass when you're playing this game really helps focus and really relieve the stress of, was this a good idea, or was this a good idea that just suffered from bad dice, right? So it gives you a lot of confidence of when and when not to change your strategy. Okay, let's do Norway first. In this first round, we have an offshore cruiser, so that's here. If we get a hit, we'll just eliminate one of the Norwegians and pretend he was never there. But our percentages are accounted, we're accounting for a miss, so let's submit. He connected, as did one of our infantry, as did the armor. So we cleaned out Norway in a single round of combat. Okay, so the 2 infantry that were not nailed by offshore will roll back, and we're 50% of the time we're expecting a hit, and they missed on that 50% shot of getting at least 1 kill. It's actually 54, I believe. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So we will convert this territory, adjust the IPCs up for the USSR and down for the Western Europeans, and move to the next battle. Just take a moment. Let's take a moment and appreciate this. So there was expected Soviet losses were going to be at least 1. Assuming the cruiser missed, it was more likely going to be 2. So we're up 2 pieces here essentially. In the worst case scenario, well, it's more like 1.5. I'm being not very generous, not accounting for the possibility that the cruiser hits and what you did. But anyway, not bad so far. We're now going to do Greece. We're 6 infantry, 4 armor and fighter, and a heavy armor attack. And I have these, the Greeks are set up in Egypt just for, so we can see what's going on. And I've got 4 infantry and armor and a fighter on defense. We're expecting to do about 3 or 4 hits here. And here we go. Yeah, we collected 3 hits. 3 hits. Look at all those 6s. But anyway, 1, 2, 3, yeah. Okay, and 5 infantry, or 5 2 defenders and a 4 defender. It's 2 or 3 hits on the way back. So let's see how this goes. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so they rolled slightly up and we rolled slightly down. No big deal. Okay, so we got 3 infantry left and then the regular armor, fighter, and heavy armor. So we're expecting 2 or 3. Ooh, that was a bad roll. We only picked up 1 hit here. Not good, but let's see how the Greeks roll. 2, 4, 8. So it looks like 1, maybe 2 hits. 1 hit. Okay. Okay, so it's been tit for tat so far. We've traded 4 infantry pieces apiece. Now down to just 2 infantry. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's overkill. Okay, with just 1 armor and 1 fighter left, the Greeks are expected to take 1 or inflict 1 hit, and they do. Okay, we adjust the IPCs there, like that. And we can just very quickly see that the Soviets were more than likely to have 7 or 8 pieces remaining. And what we ended up with was 6. So this is negative 1.5. So between Norway and Greece, kind of a toss-up, pretty much down the middle. Okay, and now we're going to do Turkey. And this has a cruiser offshore, so we'll throw him in on the first round. And then we've got 9 inf, 4 armor or fighter, and 1 heavy armor, which attacks just like a bomber. The Turks are 6 infantry and armor and a fighter. Okay, round 1, roll off with the Soviets. The cruiser misses. This is a terrible opener. Looks like we got 2 kills. Yeah, we were expecting 4 or 5, so this is a very bad opener. But we'll see how the Turks roll. So they roll 7, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, so we're expecting 3 hits from the Turks. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they rolled up 1. Not the best of openers. Darn. So one thing we'll do, so let's get rid of the Turks. That's their 2. We have to lose 4. So we're going to lose the 2 that came by the transport. Those are the first 2 that go. And we're going to split off 2 from the main body and delete those. So again, the Turks lost 2, we lost 4. We each lost the same amount of pips. That's the optimist's way of looking at this. But let's go for at least 1 more round here. Okay, round 2. No cruiser and 5 missing infantry. So we've taken a gut punch in terms of pips. 5, 4, 1. Looking at 3 kills, maybe 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. So that might make up for it. We have to see how the Greeks do. So we're expecting 2 or 3 hits with this 5 infantry, or 5 2 defenders and 1 at 4. 2 or 3 hits, and they collect 2 hits. Okay. Yeah, and this is where, you know, they lost 5 pieces. And we lost 2, but there's still a fighter left. So there's, you know, a 67% chance we're going to lose an additional infantry and be left with the skeleton crew in Turkey. Okay, let's roll to make sure we kill this Turkish fighter. We got 2 hits, but all we needed was 1. Okay, and the final Turkish fighter connects. Okay, I'm now going to move to South Korea, and then we'll do these complicated naval battles. There are 3 of them, and the big battle in West Germany. Okay, 7 infantry and 4 3 attackers. Expecting 3 hits. 0 hits. Oh. Okay. 10. So we're expecting 2 or 3 hits here, and yeah, they got 2 hits. Okay. That is brutal. Getting 0 hits. I mean, wow. Okay, we'll go another round. The odds are still quite good, but You know, this is playing Axis and Allies. Yeah, 3 hits here. Yeah, that's okay. So we picked up our numbers here. 3 hits, and the same roll back from the first round. Okay, looks like they picked up 1 hit this time, so they rolled down. Round 3, we're expecting 2, maybe 3 hits. Wow, we only got 1. Okay, and then the South Koreans roll 2-1. They pick up a hit, which was 1 or 2 hits was expected, so Okay, here we go. I will forgive these forces if they secure 2 hits, which I have given them the material to do so. There's 2.5 hits in this package. Come on, baby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, you gotta love this game. Alright, and the USA rolls their final pair, an armor and a fighter. Expected 1 hit. Miss, miss. Wow. So for all that drama, I'm just going to point out that that battle landed exactly as the probability, it landed right in the middle of the bell curve. Expected unit losses were 7, and we have 7 left. So that went right down the middle. Turkey and Greece, we're expecting to have 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this went 2 in favor of Western Europe, Turkey did, and this went 1.5 in favor of Western Europe. So Western Europe went up 3.5 here, South Korea was even, and we went up 2 as the Soviets. So the NATO is up 1.5 kills. And now we move into the big dramas. I'll tee up West Germany, sorry. Let's do that big one. I put it all out here in the Atlantic Ocean. So we've got 20 infantry, 4 3-attackers, and 1 4-attacker against 12 2-defenders, 2 fighters, and a bomber. Okay, here we are. We're expecting 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. That's the expectation. That's the center line of the bell curve. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we here we go again. -2, solid -2, very not good on the part of the Soviets. So I have to wait for my opponent. So little pause for you, big pause for me. Casualty selection here is really important. Anytime you have a defending bomber or multinational forces, it's important to get your opponent's exact real-time order of loss. And I think it's completely unfair to demand this from them before you begin the battle. That is, that just gives an advantage to the attacker. I think this is totally unacceptable. I see this a lot in YouTube wars. Okay, my opponent said all 4 hits will go to U.S. infantry. We'll now roll back. We have 1 bomber, 12 2-defenders, and 2 fighters. We're expecting basically the same amount of hits, 5 or 6 for these fellows. Bomber misses. That's holy crap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's +2. That's an under-over. The attacker scored 2 under, and the defender scored 2 over. 1, 2, 3, 2.5 over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, that stings. Okay, well, we'll go again. We're expecting 1, 2, 3, 4, hopefully 5 hits on this attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, so we met our numbers. Let's verify that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the USSR hits their numbers on this second round. Okay, he says both the remaining infantry pairs and the bomber. So the bomber, 8 2-defenders and 2 fighters roll back. We're expecting 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 hits again, really? Okay, fighters connect and only 1 infantry. So they rolled a little bit down. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. A little bit down, yeah. All right. I think we got him, but let's keep going. Round 3, we're expecting 1, 2, only 3 hits. We're expecting only 3 hits. And we get 3 hits. Okay. And he wants the UK tank to survive this round. And now we finally roll back for the 4 remaining armor and 2 fighters. 1, what is that, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 16. 2 or 3 hits on the way back. Yeah. Fire. 3 hits. Ah. Okay, this is 3 or 4 hits. We really can't roll under. I know we've been doing this. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we just barely picked it up, thank goodness. That's all 3 pieces. Alright, 8, 9, 10. And they'll get a kill and maybe 2 on the way back. Yeah, here we go. And this is just free chicken for them at this point. Only 1 hit. 8, 9, 10. Yeah, well, that's about their numbers. Okay, so this is how we ended up at the end of this. We have 5 pieces, 5 infantry left. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We ended up with 10 pieces, and so they shot up 3.5. So this is a bad opener for the Soviets. But I'm still, I think it's okay. We got our nose bloodied for sure. We basically got hurt everywhere but Norway, and Norway wasn't good enough to compensate. But we'll make lemonade. We'll see what we can do here. I just think that smashing that gear is just too important. Okay, let's keep this moving. Let's do the North Sea fight. That's 3 subs and a fighter. This actually breaks into the 80s, high 80s percentage chance. So let's see how good we can get them here. Okay, with subs, we have to roll the subs separate from. We just have to do it because there's 2 different naval unit types on defense. We need to just show this to our opponent, let him decide. What? Crud. Okay, we got 1 hit out of the sub surprise strike, so let's see what our opponent wants to select here. It's probably transport, but never can be too sure. Yep, so 1 transport never existed. So it's a fighter now versus a transport and a cruiser. The fighter fires and misses, so we'll roll back with 1 transport and 1 cruiser. So yeah, we had basically a 50% chance to do that second hit. Ooh, they both missed. Yeah, we absolutely will go for a second round of combat here. So round 2A, I'm going to commit all 3. There's absolutely the option of retreating 1 or more of these submarines, or even submerging, well, not submerging them, of retreating them. But you know what? These are, valuable pieces in the mid game. Let's just get what we can get with what we have right now. I don't want to sit on it. Oh yeah, they're gone. So yeah, that's it. So now we go back to this map, and they're just gone. We don't even have to roll for them. But now these subs are here. So the last stand of the subs here. Of course, the main benefit to these subs is if you don't kill them all in the first round of combat, they're gone. I can slip back into the Baltic Sea where only air units can get me in a single round of combat. But anyway, I'm happy with blasting that gear. So now we go over to this, and this is this whole thing is, again, kind of I'm just going to execute this because this video is getting long, but this is there's guarantees in this maneuver that make this work. And the long story short is the USA will not be able to counterattack South Korea at all. Like 0% probably. If this works, there's a very small percentage chance this thing could not work, but we have to do this in sequence. We have to do the Japan fight first, so let's load up 2 subs and see if we get any hits. Okay, so here we roll. Oh, Snake Eyes. Okay, this is interesting. He says double tap the battleship, so I'll vaporize the battleship. So they're only going to get 2 rolls back, but we have to do the cruisers and the bomber. We're expecting 1 kill here, and we got the 1 kill. Wow. He puts the hit on the cruiser, and now we will roll back for the USA. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so we submit. The sub hits, the cruiser misses, so we have to select a casualty. And I think we'll go ahead and lose a submarine. Okay, now this is classic rules, and again, the submarines are weird. And before we go into any further into a second round of combat, the attacker can opt to retreat a submarine to any sea zone from which attacking units came in. As you can see, I made darn sure that at least one unit came in from the Marcus Island sea zone. So yes, I'm going to retreat my submarine. This happens before you declare the attacker is withdrawing or anything. So he goes here. This is now a fully occupied sea zone, and that's a hostile sea zone. This is not G40, this is not anniversary. This is a hostile sea zone. Submarines create hostile sea zones. And that's going to affect this final naval battle. But before, and now it goes to the defender. The defender can do the same thing with the exception that he can pick any unoccupied adjacent sea zone. So he could go to Sea of Okhotsk, off the coast of China, off the coast of the Philippines, off of Okinawa. He can do that. He cannot go to Guam or Marcus Island sea zones because there are enemy units there. He could also submerge, as 3rd edition rules. And he pulls back to the Okinawa sea zone. Right, yeah. And now this forces the two Russian cruisers to stand off Japan. The combat's over, so I don't even have the option to retreat back to safety, some relative safety. I'm stuck in the Japan sea zone. Okay, let's do this final battle. Okay, we're attacking this sub. We get one. We might only have one chance here. We miss, so we ask our opponent what he wants to do with his sub. Of course, the USA sub gets to defend back, so let's see. Miss. Okay, so now we ask. He retreats to Okinawa with this boat as well. Not bad. And that ends the combat. Now, excuse me, I'm going to describe why we did this as the Soviets. This is really the only way to prevent any kind of concerted attack against South Korea on USA 1. There's not really anything we can do to safely remove this transport off of Okinawa. The goal here was to prevent the second transport off of Hawaii and all of its supporting assets to be able to participate, namely that battleship. They cannot now. In fact, these two cruisers can only be struck by what wasn't killed off in that opening round. Now, as it turns out, it was two subs. There's also fighters that can commit, so our days are certainly numbered, but at least we got a strategic tempo out of it. South Korea is secure for one round. This allows us a turn to build up and strengthen our forces. We're now going to go to the non-combat move. One of the first things we do is bring in the Chinese. So we'll just drop these 6 troops in North Korea and move to the non-combat move. Okay, I'm not going to go through all this because this video is getting long, although there's probably an excuse because the Soviet first turn opener is such a huge move, but essentially we're making hedgehogs or strong points behind the front lines. We pull our armor back whenever we can. We're going to hold in Turkey essentially because we have to. There's not many. These 2 regular armors can't even pull out, so heavy armor will just stick around to back these fellows up. Yep, so and the next thing is, I don't think there's much to review here. South Korea is going to be safe for a turn, so we're just, again, sort of preparing. That's our really one offensive action, that opener. Now we've got to prepare to defend, or at least to develop the situation, see what our opponent has planned for us. So, 1, 2, 3. This fighter should not be here. It should be in Poland. Okay. Otherwise, this is how we lay. So let's continue. Our placements are largely west, focused in the west, and some in the Georgia, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan region, with only one being deployed to Kamchatka. This might be the only turn where we sort of ignore this area of the board. Moving on. Our income is 59, but China is giving us 4 IPCs, so we will collect 63. So overall, we shot -5. We're missing 5 Russian infantry pieces, namely across Western Germany, Greece, and Turkey, right in here. This is where we hit the lowest. We were down 7 between those 3 battles. We went up 2 in Norway, and South Korea broke even. We did what damage we could in the Pacific side, which is about fairly normal, maybe slightly above normal. It's hard to tell with naval battles. And then the North Sea, we blasted the Americans for no ill effect. But the Soviet Navy, those days are numbered for them. So, and we missed the tech roll. I would call this, and I wouldn't say this is a bad Soviet opener. I would say it's not good. It's not a good Soviet opener. It's below it's below average. But game is still young, and there's a lot more fighting left to do. So I do feel like we accomplished the mission of blasting all that gear. We demolished 4 fighters, a bomber, multiple armor units in all these territories, Norway being the exception. Actually, an extra, I forgot the fighter in South Korea. Yeah, it's just kind of it's sort of a tax the Soviets have to pay, in my opinion. You just sort of like open up the box and see what you get. And it turned out we're down 5 pieces from par on the land side. The Navy side, I guess, is still to be seen. Thanks for watching this. All the best from the good captain, and bye-bye.